Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 110, why do we keep counting, of the Sofamanager Scottish Football Podcast. And on a packed episode this week, I read off John's notes. He's the man in organising this week. So Rangers takeover by the San Fran 49ers. I've had to adjust that. Falkirk on the box, Celtic in Europe, and Motherwell hiring a cut-price David Wagner. So all very exciting. Of course, joining me on this week's show, bueno, como estás? It is Juan, who is back looking freshly tanned. A little bit.
Brown by name, not by...
There you go. Fresh back from Gran Canaria and with a little bit of football experience to hopefully talk about this week as well.
Yeah, to be fair, that's a topic we had ever thought about. Yeah.
If you follow Juan on Footballogy, that you'll already know. I don't think we've ever plugged that before, but you're probably not too hard to find on there. And myself, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Hello. Freshly having sold my beloved Suzuki and waving goodbye to what was left of my youth, I would say. So, all in all, an uplifting episode in store this week.
Yay.
So, shall we get straight on with things?
Let's do it.
What do you want to start with, Joe?
I want to talk about your MK Dons shirt collection. Is that all going in the bin now?
So, I think I can't be the only one that does this, but, having owned a Suzuki, I want to buy lots of Suzuki things to, get myself invested and, I get very behind these sort of things. I have a wonderful Raleigh bright yellow waterproof jacket.
Yep.
That has made an appearance mainly on motorsport occasions. I've been spotted on live streams with it on. I also got into Rugby Park without being questioned because they thought I was a steward.
What, really?
Yes. Now, I was actually there to be working that day, so it was fine, but I was kind of like, well, that's a handy trick to know, isn't it?
Yep.
And MK Dons, who I think still to this day are sponsored by Suzuki.
Yes, I'll take your word for it.
They are, I believe, still to this day sponsored by Suzuki. I have a range of kits going back. I think the pandemic was probably the first time I'd invested in one of these, so 2019, 2020.
Right, okay. I thought we went a little bit further back than that.
No, I don't think it is much further back than that, because again, we're all looking for something to do. Because I think it came off the back of... for a brief while, I was putting together quite the sort of championship stroke League One English kit collection, because there's a teal Queen's Park Rangers kit somewhere in there.
Right, okay.
Which is a curious one, because their sponsor went bust halfway through the season, so it's got a new sponsor printed above the other one. And it's sort of jankily falling off. And then, as we discussed, it's been 6 years since we went to Charlton as well.
6 years, yep. For Charlton 0, Blackpool 0.
I have a great long-sleeved Hummel.
It's a really nice kit, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not had a lot of wear, because at the time I loved long-sleeve things. That's probably why I love the hockey jersey so much. But it's not as practical in a football kit to sort of wear. So, yeah, if anyone's interested... in a bunch of MK Dons kits, I was either going to job lot them on eBay, or I was just going to turn up to a car boot sale one day.
Dingy them.
For a $5, exactly. I've got some Paris Saint-Germain kits that are worth a little bit of money, depending on the right person as well. So I thought about selling them for a while, but it's kind of hard to shift your football kits without getting absolutely done over.
Yeah, it's getting done over, and the fact is, you still kind of want them. You might think, I might wear it one day.
For the money, I think some of the PSG ones could be worth 3 figures.
Yeah, the older ones, the pre-Qatari one. Yep.
Exactly. But, for the money you get for the rest, there's no point. But yes, if anyone's interested, do let us know. Volkswagen is the new brand. They were all previously a Wolfsburg sponsor, but they're green shirts. I don't really know... I'm not nothing against green.
It's the ideal colour we wear for our first actual topic.
Indeed. So, on that note,
we'll jump in.
It sounds like you, of course, want to talk about Hibernian Football Club then, John, is it?
Yeah, it's a near American owner.
I was trying to rapidly think of any other Scottish football team that's in green.
I think they're the only two, actually.
In the top leagues, I think so.
Yep.
Right, and if we're wrong, we probably are.
Yeah.
I presume Celtic in the Champions League is what you want to start with.
Oh, Celtic Champions League. Yeah, we could do that if you want to.
No, is that not what you want to do?
I was going to say talk about Rangers takeover.
Okay, Rangers takeover.
Rangers takeover, because I think this would be a bit more of a quicker topic, because there's not an awful lot of information beyond some consortium who also owns Leeds, who also owns the San Francisco 49ers,
Right.
are allegedly, according to The Sun, in advanced talks to buy Rangers.
Right. I mean,
Curious.
from just thinking about this off the cuff, I've in my lifetime, a Rangers owner has always been a named person. Like it was Craig White, or it was it David Murray
David
before
Murray.
him. And in my lifetime, I've never known it to be owned by a consortium. Who owns it now? Come to think of it,
There's 4 individually named owners. I can't remember the names off the top of my head.
it's kind of not. It's Rangers men.
I mean, it's so politicised that I just don't care. But the kind of the thing that really kind of caught my eye in this one is, one, it's like, wow, this is like a big potentially American takeover of a Scottish club. Well, I kind of mentioned Hibs. I think I've got or had an American owner in the background.
It's the same guy that owns Bournemouth
Yeah.
and the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and probably an American football team or something like that as well.
And I'm fairly confident this American owner's involved at Dundee United as well. So
I think it was Dundee, wasn't it?
both. Well, I think John
Potentially.
Nelms. God, I'm going to say I'm in trouble. Get myself in trouble for not really knowing these things.
Because there was a while there they wanted to have that derby in the States to generate interest. Like, fire on. Good luck with that.
It's a funny one. Obviously, this has caused a lot of kind of conversation on Twitter, online about, if this goes through, one, does it bring sort of competition back against Celtic? Does it clear all their woes? I mean, it still requires a footballing brain in that club to actually do it, which they don't have yet.
No.
Like I mentioned, the guy the consortium that's looking to buy Rangers also have a majority sort of holding in Leeds United.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of might fall under the multi-club conflict of interest in terms of what team can go to what competition at what time, which is so convoluted, and
They find ways around that.
exactly, yeah. So I'm sure they'll figure a way out. The thing that really kind of got me though was, say you're this owner and you own both these clubs.
Yes.
Both have massive fan bases,
Big fan bases. Underachieving.
and somewhat kind of manic at any given moment. Like, if one isn't kicking off, the other definitely will be. What do you prioritise in that? Are they actually kind of saying, like, is Leeds your primary concern, or is it Rangers your primary concern? Are they thinking about buying other teams? Are they going to build a city group type framework? These are questions I would be asking.
The thing is, it's interesting that they've seen this appealing investment, and definitely the Wrexham thing has drawn eyes to it. And perhaps Bowley at Celtic and things like that. Not Celtic, Chelsea, sorry. As well. And obviously, in American sports, you can't really buy success. It's very difficult. Well, unless you're the Los Angeles Dodgers.
You just throw money at it.
It's so stupid. Like, see, this deferred salary thing is just cheating. It's just cheating. That's what it is. It's like people talking about creative accounting in Hollywood, which is just fraud. Anyway, so there's obviously big upside. Like, if Leeds get back into the Premier League, I don't know how they're doing this season.
But they're close. They're really good. They had a great result against Sunderland on Monday night, which kind of puts them into kind of, if they're not going to win the league, they're going to finish second. Okay. It seems to be the way it's going.
So that's a huge money spinner.
Massive. That's like £1 billion.
The fact Red Bull money behind them, Red Bull Rangers, by the way, imagine that. Just saying, as a marketing partnership, there's huge upside there, and there's already huge. It's such a big fan base that
Oh yeah, I mean,
you're making money.
It should be making money. That's why I don't understand just now, is why it's not making money.
And the thing is, as well, Rangers have a pretty good pedigree in Europe. Fenerbahce, I believe, is it Fenerbahce they've been drawn against?
It will be, yep, so that's their last 16, and if they win that, they'll play Roma or Athletic Bilbao.
So they're like,
they're glamour-tised like that. That's
exactly, but their spending recently in terms of players has not been so great. Celtic have definitely done them there. I don't think Celtic are really spending that much more money than them. I
would have thought so. I think Rangers, kind of pound for pound, I know Celtic have kind of went out and signed like Arne Engels for £11 million.
Yes.
It's quite an outlay. I don't know how much they paid for Jota, or if that was including the deal for Furuhashi.
Yeah, I think they came out on top of that deal by the time they took the Furuhashi money away. Yeah. Although I don't know how they came to that structure of that deal, because it was two separate transactions.
Yeah, bit strange, but nevertheless, Celtic have the critical thing for Celtic is they both have the kind of, at the moment, have the kind of back financing.
Yes.
She's all sorted, and they do have a really good kind of football department. They have a conveyor belt of being able to go out and get an Arnie Engels and develop him, or they've been able to go and get Kyogo Maeda. I mean, Maeda's performance against Bayern Munich should have other bigger clubs in
Maeda.
Europe looking at this guy. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. He's
such a workhorse.
He's too good for the Scottish Premiership, to be quite blunt. I know, I'm sure Celtic fans will be kicking off about that, but you know, he is.
They don't turn up to the Premiership games anyway, John. Don't worry about it.
Nah, it's just what you think. That's the two main aspects, and Rangers are failing in both of them. So if this new ownership kind of comes in, that might solve the money side of things. I mean, I think they're looking to take over the debt, which I think's a real burden.
That was what hamstrung them in January, isn't it? There really wasn't enough money.
There's no money in the bank, and they don't have sellable assets. They don't have the kind of players coming in to develop in the same way that Celtic do. So they've really got to kind of hope that solves that side of things, and by solving that, they can then get the football department back in order, back in shape, and they can go and get Derek McInnes, and they can carry on.
Derek McInnes would get them consistent at
He
very least.
consistent in the Scottish Premiership. He knows the league more than what Clermont. I think that's why Rangers do so well in Europe.
Right.
Is because they have a European kind of manager, or certainly have the kind of ability to put their tactics together. The kind of player that they have suits playing in Europe. But they get bullied domestically. They get absolutely battered off the park sometimes.
Off of the Queen's Park.
Off the Queen's Park. Yeah, I mean, this is it. They cannot handle. They cannot handle Scottish football. They need a Scottish manager, or a manager that knows the league to handle that.
Wasn't a problem for Aberdeen, lads. Just saying. No, they played Dunfermline.
Yes,
but they play Queen's Park in the next round.
That's been announced. I think that's Friday night.
Someone has a hand helping Aberdeen through all these cup competitions this year.
It's another home time.
Oh my god! But against, with who they played, Elgin, Dunfermline,
Queen's Park.
I think the League Cup was pretty straightforward as well until they got horsed in the semi-final.
Yep.
Be interesting to see. People when they buy out these things never really have that much interest in it, do they? They sort of bring the people in to do the thing.
Well, yeah.
If they're not doing the thing, they cut their losses and go. There's,
Yeah, just like dump it back into administration and start again.
Yeah. But with a name like Rangers, they probably have a big appeal in the States.
Yeah.
Because there was that funny time that K-pop band got mixed up between an American team. Was it the Texas Rangers or something like that? They were in Texas doing a concert.
Oh, it wasn't BTS, was it?
I don't know.
I don't think
think
that's
it
the
was.
only K-pop band I know.
There was.
I'm ashamed to know that.
They were a female band, so it definitely
it's
wasn't
not
them.
them. I have no idea.
But yeah, they turned up on a Texas stage with Glasgow Rangers football shirts because there was some lost in translation. And then they did visit Ibrox later on. So yeah, it could bring some more celebrity fans in. We'll see how they go. Speaking of Celtic, what are your thoughts on the Champions League exit? Because there's been two narratives I've seen online about this.
Right. Well, I mean, a valiant effort.
Yeah,
I think they've performed.
As all Scottish teams
do.
do.
Listen, I think if you look at it kind of holistically, I think they've done well to compete the way they did in the league format, which I think has actually been really good.
Yes.
Obviously, I had their doubts at the start, but I think it's actually been really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Kind of finishing where they did was brilliant. They got some really good results. They put up a good fight against Bayern Munich, who aren't that great. They're not the kind of Bayern Munich of sort of 5-10 years ago.
No.
And unfortunately came up just a little bit short. Now, do I have any sympathy for them in the manner that they lost? No, because I've seen it far too often against the minnows of Scotland, so they're kind of getting a taste of their own medicine there, so I have very little sympathy in that regard. But you still have to kind of say, like, fair play, like you've done yourselves proud, if you want to kind of look at it that way. But it's funny, very, very funny.
Yeah. I do think we need to temper expectation a wee bit, because I've said this on the podcast before, but you've not made the last 16. So everyone's talking about knockout football, but what you've really done here is finish third.
You've deferred.
Yes. So, and I think Brendan is basking in some sunshine here that's shining a little bit too brightly.
A bit too brightly. I mean, some of the praise is certainly justified, and it's been certainly deserved. I mean, like they have done well. There were some really good results, like I say.
And they got horsed by Dortmund as well.
They did get horsed by Dortmund, but I think they learned their lesson, which is something that I didn't think
Well, I suppose
Brendan Rodgers was capable of doing.
if you compare that Dortmund result to the Bayern Munich result, there's probably been progress.
A lot of progress. I mean, the fact that they got horsed off Dortmund and then the next game was away to Atalanta, who granted themselves going to go pumped in this round as well, but to kind of go there and get a 0-0 result was like, all right, this is actually a little bit different. This is a kind of developing Celtic system in Europe.
Yes.
So I think there's certainly stuff for them to kind of build on. I think a little bit of kind of hope and expectation now going into the next season. So I mean, fair play to them. I think unfortunately I missed their goal because I was too busy gluing my kind of model airplane together. But it was an unfortunate time.
I saw an advert on Facebook, by the way, for the Scottish Model Railway Exhibition at the SEC coming up soon. You're not fans of that?
I used to go to the one at Falkirk College back in the...
Well, they used to do great swap meets there for model cars and everything. Anyway,
that's a different
exposing
podcast.
ourselves.
Nerd.
Exactly. I didn't what was I watching? Oh yeah, they had that Formula 1 thing on at the O2, revealing all the liveries and stuff like that. The big show Jack Whitehall hosted. It was actually pretty decent. So we turned it over to that, anticipating extra time, and watching the goal. Schmeichel makes an unbelievably good save, and actually I think Carter Vickers has his head in his hands before Schmeichel even brings it out. Now I'm looking at it going, could Carter Vickers have done a better job with that? You give him another chance at it, he probably does.
Yeah,
there's a lot to anticipate about that situation. The Bayern Munich bloke's right behind him to put a bit of pressure on him. I think he'll be kicking himself a wee bit that he didn't do a wee bit better there. And again, I do hate this Scottish thing of, we were so near but so far. They have 4 times our budget. We did so well. It's not about that.
It's rubbish. That in itself is a pathetic argument.
There's 11 guys on the pitch at that, and I think they were better that game from what I've heard.
Celtic were certainly on top.
So
I think they had a few chances, particularly first half. Kuhn in particular had one, basically kind of one-on-one.
He is away come the summer. Do
you reckon?
Yeah, Bundesliga. Because he's German as well, isn't he?
If he's not German, he'll be
Austrian.
He's certainly kind of Central European.
Engels will be, all these guys.
I don't know about Engels.
You not?
Nah, I'm not convinced yet. I think he's early days, but
all these guys.
£11 million, I'm kind of looking at. I kind of want a little bit more.
I mean, if you're getting to a Champions League knockout stages, these guys would demand 30 million easily, and Celtic will just be like, "Aye, off you go."
That's it. They make the profit.
Indeed. A few odd ties. I saw PSG were playing Brest. I was like, how did they let that happen? That feels a bit of a weird one.
Particularly this early in the tournament.
I know. And it's a shame because they were doing quite well, and I think it was 6-0 on aggregate.
It was more than that. It was 10.
Was it 10 in there?
10-0 on aggregate. I think they won 7-0.
Brutal.
In the second leg.
And then I did tune in briefly. I think Monaco were playing Bruges or something. And there was incredible scenes there. There was a 3-3 equaliser, and then we flicked over at the Celtic and moved on. It's also tremendous to see Man City get knocked out pretty comprehensively as well.
That was actually quite. I watched most of that game.
Right.
Highly enjoyable. It was particularly funny because I was in Gran Canaria for the first leg.
Yes.
And I was by this point I was back in my room and you could hear the roar.
Right.
When Mbappe scored to make it 3-2, and you're like, oh, okay.
They totally capitulated there, didn't they?
Quite funny. I feel sorry for Guardiola. No.
This is a very unusual situation for him.
The kind of mental punishment he's putting himself through seems a bit too much. Somebody needs to kind of sit him in a dark room and say, just calm down.
He made... Signing this new contract's been the biggest mistake he's ever made.
Huge. If he had not signed that contract, he would be going in the summer. In fact, he probably would have been sacked by now. 100%.
And he would have been married as well.
Poor timing for that.
Indeed. So we will see, obviously, how things progress. Rangers playing Fenerbahce.
Jose Mourinho coming back.
Yeah, I know. What do you think their chances are there?
I think they've got a reasonable chance, actually, without knowing a huge amount about Fenerbahce.
It's probably a 50-50 thing.
It must be
you'd imagine.
They must fancy their chances because the second leg will be at Ibrox, which, again, is I think, particularly for Rangers, that's a big advantage.
Yep.
If you can go to Fenerbahce, come away with a not disrespectful result, like if you get a 0-0 draw, even a 1-0 defeat, these kind of tight margins, and you can just kind of basically go gung-ho when you get to Ibrox. Yeah, I think they're a reasonable chance, and the fact that they've got either Roma or Athletic Bilbao waiting for them in the quarterfinals, I think that's a massive incentive as well. I mean, that's yet another kind of glamour game for them to be involved in. I think by that point, at that stage in the tournament, they're not going to get the result out of it. But what a stage to put yourself on again. I think
it's also all that's left.
Well,
there's nothing else to play for.
There is nothing left to play for. You're absolutely right.
Unless Aberdeen stage another one of these sensational runs and Rangers then go on a losing streak of every single game.
I unfortunately can't see that happening.
Funny enough, Aberdeen did get their first win in 14 in the league at the weekend. And for the first time in 13 and a half weeks, I tuned into Sports Scene to see the very thing. And after one win, John, they rise back to third place.
It's just,
how miserable is that?
I was talking to my dad about that coming home on that very afternoon. It was like,
they come back to third.
How have they, like,
Dundee United are a bad run as well.
They accumulated, like, was it like 30 points out of 34, something like that.
Yeah.
For the first kind of so many games. And you're like, right, that's actually really good. But the fact that that's sustained them.
Yeah.
Not even switching like third or fourth, but in the top six just shows how dreadful the rest of the league has been.
So I have a theory on this, because at the start of the season, Aberdeen weren't bossing teams, they weren't tanking teams.
They were winning kind of last minute.
Exactly. So I actually think that the Premiership, beyond Rangers and Celtic, is so close, and that the margins are so tiny that basically week to week it sways every which way. Now, for some reason, the universe has sided with Aberdeen, and it has swung entirely to the green. And then the universe was like, whoa, they must pay for their sins. We have left this unchecked. So it's then hammered itself back to the red. And again, they weren't getting tanked week on week. They were getting beaten. They weren't. But it's these really fine margins.
This is it.
That you're not getting on top of. And again, this is sort of feeding into the narrative at the moment that the Premiership's a wee bit boring.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of not a topic that I think we would go into, but there was a guy doing a video outside the Falkirk Stadium prior to the Ayr game on Saturday, which is subsequently.
How'd that go?
I was going to say blown up on Twitter.
What's Twitter?
I refuse to call it his name.
I actually think I'm unsubscribing now. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Mental.
But this guy kind of made a video basically stating the argument for at minimum a 14-team league, up to a 16-team league. I'm going to say something really controversial. I actually think that the structure of the Scottish Premiership, the 12-team, isn't bad.
Okay.
I think it's okay. The only thing it needs tweaking significantly is the playoff system at the bottom. This third v fourth, the winner of that plays second in the championship and then plays 11th. I think that's too heavily weighted.
Yeah.
That if you had 11th play fourth, second v third, and then had a one-off, like how basically how happens in England, you have a one-off final game. Play it at Easter Road or Tynecastle unless they are in the 11th spot.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, a neutral ground, and play it out. I think that is far fairer in a kind of short burst.
Yes.
But having kind of two teams almost kind of regularly coming up might start to freshen things up a little bit.
Oh, bless you.
That caught me off guard.
It's the first sneeze we've had in the podcast in a long time.
It could be, actually.
I don't recall a sneeze ever happening.
You can tell us the weather. Maybe it's a sign for God telling me shut up.
Maybe.
The other thing I would change as well, actually, to be fair, is certainly the Scottish Championships. You could probably expand that out to 12 and do a split, but then I would amalgamate the League 1 and League 2.
Okay.
And just have them play each other home and away.
A lot of the teams are
because at that point it's kind of much of a same. And if you're Stranraer having to go to Peterhead,
it doesn't make a difference.
If you're playing that 4 times a season, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Why not just do it 1-1 and forget about it?
So I would agree with you that the system's actually working quite well for the Premiership. My worry on an expanded league would, you look at, we talked about the Welsh League, a few weeks back, and you had some pretty dreadful teams with really low attendances in the bottom half. You open that up. I mean, sure, Falkirk, Dunfermline, Ayr United is not the biggest team in the world.
Well, the thing is,
Partick Thistle and Co are not. I mean, they've been there in the past.
The reason, particularly Falkirk, kind of speaking anecdotally, are getting big crowds is because we're competing for the title, and people want to come and be a part of that, and basically see us bottle it in every big game. But nevertheless,
I did see, by the way, that they're trying to change the licensing agreement for the pub behind the goals, because if they get into the Premiership, the kickoff times will be varied, and I'm like,
I hate when they do
I
this.
wouldn't have.
We are Falkirk single-handedly are the worst club for doing stupid things like this. It really gets my goat.
Preempting the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, they preempted that. They preempted, what else did they done? The Scottish Cup final 2015. They preemptively put us in the away kit for the following season, which had gold printing in the badge and gold.
Yeah.
I was like, what was wrong with the kit we've been playing in all season? They got us to the final. That really.
It's like you mind the Tottenham watches for the Champions League final?
Yeah.
They said, was it finalists?
Finalists.
They said finalists. They wasn't even convinced
It's
they
like
would
a
win.
defeated statue, but Falkirk are so bad for it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But no, I mean, it's over on a tangent again. But I think the structure we have isn't bad. I mean, I'm speaking to him, certainly particularly my dad, because he's old enough to kind of have watched Falkirk when it used to be like an 18 team league or a 20 team league.
Oh, right, in the first division.
And it was dreadful. It got to about October time, you had nothing to play for if you were mid-table, and crowds were dwindling and people weren't interested, and that's why they started to kind of break it up and make it more competitive. You know, this argument about bigger leagues, it promotes
Younger
youth development.
players.
That's rubbish.
It would change.
I genuinely think that is absolute rubbish. The most important thing for youth development is having a reserve league running properly, and having your Scottish Premiership teams and aspiring Championship teams, League One teams, if they want it, to be involved. I don't see why this is such a sticking point. Why is this an issue? Why they got random B teams playing in the Lowland League when you could have a specific reserve league like what we used to go to on a Tuesday night?
Yes.
Why is this such a difficult concept for them to wrap their head round?
Maybe that was something they tried. It wasn't working. On the prospect as well as the four sort of round robin season of playing the teams 4 times. There is something a little bit interesting about it. The fact that you this season have 4 Dunfermline derbies to go to.
Yeah,
pretty exciting. The fact that they're playing Ayr 4 times, Livingston 4 times, that means you've got immediately like basically 12 big games in a season to go to.
Well, this is it.
Which could be reduced down. And it's something they do in ice hockey a lot. It's just they play each other like all the time because there's only 12 teams, and the British League are 10 teams or something like that. But it breeds actually familiarity and more rivalries and things like that. So working well.
I think it's fine. I think people just need to kind of get a grip. I mean, if genuinely, I think they're just being.
Look into the camera, John. What do you want to tell people?
You are being deliberately obtuse. Get a reserve league sorted. Lobby for that all you want. I'm all for that 100%. But this expanded league is a red herring. It's a waste of time.
Yeah,
it's pointless. The TV companies aren't interested. As you say, big crowds are possible when you've got your rivalries coming in playing Dunfermline. I mean, that's 7,000-8,000 attendances every time.
Yes,
every time. It doesn't matter how good or bad those teams are doing. But if you only do that once or twice, so you're basically losing half your revenue if you're just looking at those 4 games. And you're substituting that for a meaningless game against Motherwell or a meaningless game against Ross County.
No, it doesn't matter.
That is utterly pointless. I am not interested. I think that's stupid.
On the playoffs, 2 teams have gone up in the past. I do still think it gives an opportunity.
I mean, like I said, the playoffs need tweaked, and it's the same at the bottom of the pyramid as well. I mean, the SPF, like who finishes 10th in League 2, so there's a bit of breathing room to be had, and that's why I would say if you amalgamate League 1, League 2 and really open up the playoffs at the bottom into the Highland and Lowland League, I think that starts to breathe a bit of competition and new life into the SPFL.
But like that seems to be where the life of Scottish football is, and the investment is right now, is in these Lowland and Highland League teams.
These are all aspirational kind of clubs. They have a foundation in their communities, which certainly some clubs don't really have anymore, or they pretend to have. But they're your grassroots teams. They're the sort of teams that you should be sending your loan players to that you think are decent. Yeah. Decent youth prospects. You know, if you want them playing at a decent level, open up the pyramid. It's as easy as that. They need to go over themselves. Like,
we shall wait and see.
You have been told.
We shall wait and see. Whilst we are here, the championship race is somewhat heating up. I'll actually probably need to turn on the telly in 10 minutes. As Falkirk face Greenock Morton, John here, being the half-hearted fan he is,
fair weather fan,
decided not to go to Greenock Morton when the wind and the hail is going at 90 degrees.
Listen, I'm just following Met Office weather warnings.
There you go. So yeah, another top of the table clash, like the second one in as many weeks as Falkirk played Ayr United last weekend. You must have been slightly devastated about the fact that you were in Gran Canaria for the return of Scott Arfield and how well that went.
Yeah, for the party game, I was sitting like, I woke up and I was like, I really wish I was going to the Falkirk game. And then when I'm lying by the pool and
it wasn't
20
so
degree
bad.
heat, I was like, well, yeah, it could be too bad.
He has done well, for the way.
Aye, for 4 goals in 2 games.
I know.
Pain for himself.
Don't know if it's a red herring or not. And people are saying, like, yeah, he scored the goals, but I don't know if he's doing that much else off the ball. I don't know.
Oh, but no,
I
would disagree with that a little bit. I mean, I think I've only seen him in the Ayr United game properly. First half, he was a little bit anonymous, but so was the rest of the team.
Right.
It was the second half. He kind of picks up that kind of number 10 position. It's just his vision of pass that I haven't seen it in so long. It was like, I can't believe it.
Well, that was his thing, wasn't it?
It was the fact he was picking up, say, 35, 40 yards out, quite central. And he just had the simplistic thought of, I'll just pass it to the striker right in front of me. Big Barney Stewart. Mind blown. I was like, this hasn't been shelled out to the wings and then be cut in and then we'll cut in again and maybe we'll put the cross in. No, it was just pass to Barney. Barney can lay it off and we were creating chances. And you're like, this is a revelation. It's so simple.
So is it very much Callum Who at this point?
Yeah, it is actually, to be fair.
Dear me.
It wasn't really missed. He's certainly not been missed. It wasn't missed against Ayr.
Aye.
Partly, I think we got a little bit lucky with the sending off.
Right, okay.
For what I've kind of seen, Luke Graham was playing left back and was a total bomb scare.
Right.
And he played them at left back again, and it very much limits Falkirk's attack. But I actually thought Ayr weren't all that great on Saturday.
Well, they got the point off it.
They did get the point, and they got 2 very cheap goals. But yeah, it's tense and it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And it's teams that haven't really been in the mix. You know, Livingston's probably a little bit of a, outside of the relegated Premiership team you would expect, but Ayr are probably a surprise package, and Scott Brown doing quite a good job.
Yeah, listen,
off the back of not doing very well at Fleetwood.
I don't think he didn't do very well at all at Fleetwood. I think for Ayr in particular, they've got a really
quite a young team, I think, isn't it?
A fairly young team. It's quite effective kind of tactical. I mean, again, I'm going to say quite simplistic, but it's old school in terms of it's basically 4-4-2,
right?
And it's 2 big laddies up front, and they can shell balls into Oakley in particular, who's a proper wind-up merchant. I mean,
he's been on the go for quite a few years.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he scored. I can't remember if it was the first or second goal, and he had like a kind of t-shirt underneath, obviously up to some kind of random message right in front of the Falkirk fans in such small lettering that literally nobody could read this thing. So God knows what it said, but like I say, it's quite.
Why always me?
It's effective for them. It seems to be. It's certainly paying dividends at the moment. They're up there challenging with us in Livingston. I do wonder at what point if he gets him promoted, I think he'll be absolutely buzzing. His stock will be at an all-time high, and he'll be waiting for the first available opportunity to jump ship.
Something like a Hibs job or something kind of be far away.
Yeah, I think it'll be Hibs. If Tony Dock gets sacked out of Dundee, he's probably prime candidate for that.
Right.
A kind of mid-table, safe-ish Premiership team. If Ayr don't get promoted.
Yep, it will be interesting to see. All in the back tails of each other. Falkirk's record against these teams, I don't think they've beaten any of them, have they? I don't think they've beaten Ayr.
They beat Ayr at home the first time round.
Oh, did they? Okay.
And then got beat at Somerset, drawn there. We've got to go back to Somerset at the end of March, I think.
Okay.
Drew Levy beat. So it's not been great. They have our number.
So playoff situation. No. They need to win this league.
They need to win the league. No, I'm not going through playoffs. No.
They need to win this league. We will wait and see. So, Gran Canaria, John, whilst we are here, you did actually go and see a football match.
Yeah, I did.
When you were out there. It was not the one that you were describing to me.
No.
Was it Las Palmas or something? We're at home to somebody.
The kind of overly optimistic me was like, oh yeah, we'll go to Las Palmas. I don't know how your geography is off Gran Canaria, but Las Palmas is at the north of the island. Clyde Inglis, where we were staying, was in the south of the island.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting a bus for an hour and a half the day after I arrived when I'm in an all-inclusive hotel.
Okay, that was a bit hefty.
I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. There's literally no point. Thankfully I didn't bother going because they did get beat as well. They were playing Villarreal, so... I avoided that.
You wouldn't be bothered about that. You're just there to see.
Well, you want to kind of go and see the home team win, I suppose. Yeah. So that was that. So the Sunday, I had every intention of going to this game though. This was UD San Fernando, who were at home to fellow Gran Canarian side.
Tunes.
I loved it. We played.
Look, John, Falkirk 50 points. Ayr United 48. Sorry, it's just come on the telly to remind us there.
Thanks to 46.
Airdrie and Dunfermline are not having a good year.
It's the goal difference for Airdrie, but minus 26.
All right. I think I counted 14 people in that Capello stand there, but anyway.
No. I'm not going to be massively distracted.
Yes. So San Fernando
against Tamara City.
Okay.
Who are also from Gran Canaria. So this is like a Canary Islands
derby or league.
League, really. Yeah. But this was like a kind of local derby.
Must be some good Moroccans or something like that, surely, that get imported.
Yeah, I don't know about imported, but
it's just across the water.
How did they arrive? Better not do that.
No. What was the quality like?
So I would kind of place this as it was a lot like going to see Cameron Junior. So it was kind of East of Scotland,
okay,
kind of Premier Division, League One division. But they did keep the ball in the deck a lot more. It was just the sort of fitness and speed of play in particular. It was like, oh yeah, this is like watching kind of regional football back home. Only it's like 20 degrees warmer and blue sky, and
the lads are a bit fitter.
Just a better atmosphere. I say, cracking DJ, giving it all.
There was a few people there. I was surprised.
I reckon there's about 200 at the game.
Okay.
12 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday, so well, probably just came out of church and then came to the game. So it was brilliant. I mean, it was a little bit off the beaten track. I went to the reception and says, "Oh, can you order me a taxi, please?" "Oh, yeah, no problem." "Where you going? You go to the shops?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to the Stadio," whatever it was. She just got this blank look at her going,
no idea.
I'm sure the taxi driver will know. Right, great, no problem. It was like kind of like gender role, but it was a woman who's probably not going to know where a kind of regional Gran Canarian football team is going to be. It'd be like speaking to a receptionist at your local Premier Inn going, "Quite like to go to Carmuir's."
Yes.
I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem."
We have people that stay here all the time wanting to go there.
The bigger worry was when I got in the taxi, told the guy where I wanted to go, and he just kind of looked at me and went, "Never heard of that before."
It's like, there's 200 people there. You would have thought.
Yeah, I was like, it's like I just kind of show him on Google Maps, and he's like, football. And I was like, yes. Right, he took me up. It was really good. So funny. I kind of panicked when I got in though, because I seen the pin badges, so I managed to get a pin badge.
That is unbelievable.
The ultimate goal. Paid for the pin badge, and then went and got myself a bottle of water. And before I realised I'd done all that, they were selling football shirts as well.
Right.
€40. And I was like,
you might as well.
I should have.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I panicked. I can't describe what was going through my brain. It completely shut down on me. I was just like, no, just go and get a seat, and you're already in a weird foreign environment. I was a bit all over the place.
You do that though, like you see something and you're like, I've got these other things, I'm fine, I'll leave it, and then later you're like,
it was difficult to kind of like communicate with the guy to say, I'm looking for a pin badge. You know, I was like, I've already kind of like
La badge the pin.
Like I'm mentally drained as it is, so yeah, that's fine. But it's always an excuse to go back.
Exactly. What do I have? I've got a Sorrento Football Club jersey that was on sale from a newsagent's when we were in Italy. Yeah, it's a wee bit nippet, so it doesn't come out too open. As is the large Napoli kit, which is a size up from what I usually wear because they are skin tight as well.
They're like it's almost player issue.
No, my parents are going back this year, so they'll be getting the order for the McTominay shirt if it
lovely.
Their away kit looks unbelievably.
Or the white
as well. Oh no, maybe their third kit. I've seen like a navy blue one.
Right,
with light blue accents. But either way, you're winning with an Napoli kit. John's now going to be a wee bit more distracted.
But
I didn't name them coming at the tunnel.
No, I'm trying.
There's quite a lot of folk missing.
Barney starting with Sean Mackey's playing left back.
I think they were saying 4 people have not travelled with him.
Liam Henderson's out injured, which is the biggest worry. So it'll be Donaldson and probably Luke Graham at centre. It'll be Adams and Adams at right back. Looks like Sean Mackey left back, which is an interesting one over Leon.
Oh well, by the time this goes up, everyone will know what the...
Oh, well, I've been beaten. They'll be fine.
The conclusion of it was, that's they should be alright tonight. We'll wait and see. Dookie Emery's been there a long time, hasn't he?
I mean, Morton are 13 games unbeaten.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So this is quite a game.
Yeah. Well, it looks fine, John. I'm not seeing any rain.
Give it time.
It doesn't look too windy.
It's always sunny in the west.
My brother's patched it as well, so
that's fine. Feel less guilty now.
There you go. When I was on holiday, we went to London for a few days. And one of the things I did when I was in London was I went to see ABBA Voyage. You heard of this before?
Oh, yes.
Pudding Mill Lane, of all places. On the DLR. So I did get to ride the DLR.
Hey.
Went up to Stratford. Last time we did that was going to see the West Ham Stadium.
Yeah, we did the tour, yeah.
Did the
That was
tour.
6 years ago.
Well, 6 years ago, indeed. I think Darren, who you might remember from former podcasts, he got a kit
Who?
that day. Funny enough, when I went to see because it's like a virtual concert. So, of course, ABBA aren't there anymore.
What a shame.
Well, so I was not sure how I'd feel about this because I was like, well, how convincing is this? Because people said like they would cry at the sight, and I'm like, I don't know. You got into it after a while, but it's not them. Like, you know, they're a mile away. They're not moving forward and backward. They're just on a screen. Right? It is what it is. But people are clapping and cheering. You're kind of like, who are we clapping and cheering for?
Yeah, you're clapping a robot.
Well,
But you're not even clapping a robot, you're clapping a screen.
There is a live band, so there are people there.
It's almost like me shouting at the telly
Wow.
right now going, come on Barney, get in there.
Well,
It's like,
yeah.
He can't hear me, he has no idea who I am or what I'm saying.
This is kind of what I wanted to say, was that I've been at that virtual experience, and we seem to be going more that way. Because you've seen that bar, I think in Los Angeles, that has the massive
Aye.
like wraparound screen.
With the worst possible camera angle.
Well,
Why are you down in the bottom corner of Old Trafford? How stupid can you
but
be?
I think that's just when they take the corner and then it sort of switches. You get different perspectives. Because there was a funny one with the steward who was like sat in front of it and they couldn't see anything. But that was really funny because they're all standing up going, move, steward. So you're actually getting that experience in a place that you'd never be able to go to Old Trafford from Los Angeles on a regular basis.
Yes.
So with that in mind, has it started well already?
No.
Started badly already?
Calvin Miller cut inside there, took a shot. Just wrong side of the post there.
Good floodlights, by the way, I must say.
Cuts in, takes a shot. I think maybe keeper probably would have had that covered.
Are Falkirk in the stand behind that goal, or is that the Morton fans?
That'll be the Morton fans.
I was going to say there's not many.
That's actually a really terrible shot when you see it for that angle. They would be doubling end at the other end.
Camera jets on. So my question to you was, if there were the prospect of virtual football matches, is that something that could have an interest? Now, the way I was thinking about this is if I could go back and relive Aberdeen 2 Bayern Munich 2 from the end and the place that I was
it's
sat
like an Aberdeen voyage.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but like, you know, you could go back and relive the
There's not an awful lot to pick here.
Scottish Cup semi-final.
I'm not going to go back and live a semi-final.
The Hibernian playoff semi-final. Not many finals, but a lot of semi-finals that maybe would be worth it. Is that something that would hold the interest? And is that something we might see in the future?
You might see it in the future. Well, you can just watch the highlights back on YouTube.
But that's not the same. It's not the same.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. It'll be a case of sitting with a VR headset on with audio spatial headset, all that kind of thing.
See, I think it would be a better experience with people. Like, you know, if I could be like, John, there's Sonny Luco. Look what Sonny Luco's about to do now.
Yeah.
There's Josh Walker. This is the best thing in his football career he's ever going to do.
The thing that would annoy me about that is like I already know the outcome.
Yeah.
And I think that was a bit of ropey defending there.
But you could be in Lisbon, John, when Celtic won. You could be in Gothenburg when Aberdeen won, or anything Rangers have done. You could go back to Seville and relive the.
You have the kind of glass bottles just flying over here.
Yeah,
you're in Manchester.
You could have the Manchester experience again. Yeah, the Rangers fans would appreciate that one. So yeah, I thought I would float that.
It would be a noble thing. I'm sure Americans in particular would lap it up. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, the game's done. I know the outcome. The difference with being a kind of music concert, I mean, if somebody says to me you want to do a virtual concert and go and watch like Motley Crue when they were at their hype, or you know, so one of these kind of like outstanding 80s bands, AC/DC in their absolute prime, yeah, I would actually go to that because I think like you say, you would be in with a crowd, like you would be in a voyage,
yep,
you know, and that kind of thing, and you could, if you hadn't lived that experience, which I definitely haven't, far too young, but you could
okay,
you could get a kind of feel for what it would have been like if you were on
AC/DC at Donington and like
what was it like to be at a kind of bar club on Sunset Boulevard in the 80s? What an experience that would be. I think that would be absolutely tremendous to go and I would pay money for that, definitely.
The only qualm I have about it, I think if they were dead it would be weird.
Yeah.
And as well, it takes away from like modern music artists now have twice the amount of competition. They have to compete with the current artists out there, and now they would have to compete with the best of yesteryear.
Yeah, and probably AI as well, because I think that that's on the horizon.
It's kind of going that way. So yeah, it was an interesting one. I was worried about being spotted, because I get spotted everywhere. With my job as an educator.
Oh, right.
Florida, people saw me like shopping at Disney.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
St Andrews at golf, spotted. Like you would be shocked. And I was like, see if anyone catches us like, doing a bit of dancing queen, doing like the big pointing and stuff like that. I am screwed. So come back to work. What did you get up to in London? Oh, went to the ABBA thing. Oh, I went to the ABBA thing too. And you're like, whoa!
Oh no.
What day? Saturday. Whew! We went on Wednesday, that's fine. Whew! Survived that scare, so happy days. One thing about London is I did not see as many football kits on sale. They were sort of harder to come by, like the main Nike stores, all that jazz, Adidas. Well, there wasn't an Adidas store. Couldn't go. There's a freaking PSG shop on Oxford Street though. So if you want your Paris Saint-Germain stuff, you're sorted there. Yeah, I'm kind of over that now. So
yeah,
but in central London, that's the only major club store, which is mad.
It seems a bit strange. I mean, I appreciate probably like shoplifting and stuff like that's probably quite high on the agenda, but I always find going to Nike stores in particular just an incredibly disappointing experience. Now, I don't know if that's because I am like not the most athletic and I certainly don't run, and that is Nike's kind of bread and butter.
Have you seen these third kit things, by the way, with the swoosh pointing up the way?
I hate that.
Do you know why that is?
I don't care.
Do you want me to tell you why it is?
Yeah, go on then.
It's to represent the uplift of women's football.
Really?
Yes. So they've turned the swoosh around, and this is to represent that.
As someone told Alan Brazil.
Oh, mate, like, they're on men's football shirts. Like,
it doesn't work.
On women's football shirts, yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Crack on. That's the whole purpose of it.
I saw the new Scotland women's shirt has been a bit divisive.
I like it though.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Do they sell it in men's sizes?
They are selling it in men's sizes.
Okay, that because they did not do that.
I haven't looked so far enough to see what the price is, but I do quite like it.
Okay,
it's better than the other.
Oh, I like the neon pink one.
Well, I did like that as well, and I don't think that was done in men's sizes.
That was not done in men's sizes.
Like, if there was like a giant women's sizes, it would probably fit me fine, but.
They always have the sort of slender.
I have that kind of.
Okay,
I have all the right shapes for that.
I won't delve into that anymore.
But I'm sure they did like a different. They've done a few Rosebery ones.
Okay, yeah.
They did the one that looked like basically if you look like Ronald McDonald when you bought it.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Oh, Akichi Anya. I can still picture Akichi Anya.
I can kind of think about what you're talking about.
It was white, and it was like.
I know how good Akichi Anya was for Scotland, by the way.
I still remember being in Sportsters in Falkirk when he scored the opening goal away to Germany when they were at Dortmund, and the place went absolutely ballistic. That is
imagine see Scotland score against Germany. Eh?
A singular moment. I know. I walked out the stadium before they playing well scored.
Oh dear.
€600 for that.
There you go.
To spew in a bush.
You're going to get a lot of good highlights clips this week.
Oh yeah, big time. Quite a decent Falkirk support there.
I know, John. Could have been there.
Nah.
Could have been there. You've been there enough. Even I've done that, I think, twice.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been at Morton a few times. First time the manager was just sacked, so...
Well, that was Peter Houston probably, wouldn't it be then?
Yeah,
or so Presley.
They got in the old bloke that used to just be around the place.
Alex Smith.
He
was on side though.
Because that was when Tony Gallagher... That meant nothing to us.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, you were at that game. That was a terrible game. I think Aidan Nesbitt was playing for Morton that day.
Could well have been.
I think it was, yep.
Do you know what really depresses me at the moment? Is have you seen these social media videos of like reserve players from like 2016? No. So basically they go through like they'll look at Bournemouth and they'll look at their FIFA team from 2016. They'll go to their reserves and tell you where they are now.
Right.
Now to me 2016 doesn't feel that long ago. Most of them are in their 30s or retired.
No.
And you're just going like, no, this can't be. And they bring up people that you're like, oh, youngster, 35, retired, has been for 3 years, and you're like, oh.
There's a guy on Twitter, I've completely forgotten who it was because I'm obviously ill prepared. But he's been doing the same kind of thing. He's been doing threads of like where are they now for certain teams. So it's like the Scotland team that played at the under 21 Euro 17 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And
Where did they get
kind
to?
of go through the squad and where did they go? And he did one for a Ross County team. They must have either won a league or they had won a cup or something like that.
Yeah.
Going through it, and one Ross McKeever, who's now at Falkirk, is in that squad. I'm going, wow. I thought he was like young at the moment.
No.
But for us, this is like 7 or 8 years ago, and he's 25, 26.
So this is his prime.
He's in his absolute prime. A few kind of interesting kind of names in there, like Stuart Armstrong involved in that. I can't remember, but he couldn't have been.
This is honestly one of the best lit pitches I've seen in recent times.
Is it?
I would say so, yeah. Like for a championship game.
Oof. Go on, Cole.
Go through him. Oofed. Aye, yeah. Well, this is not the cultured football that you probably saw in Spain the other week.
I was going to say, like, to be fair, they kept on the deck and were still like kind of consistent in passing it around.
Whilst we're away, the news came out that your beloved football manager has defo skipped a year.
Yeah, I can't blame them, to be honest.
How? Like,
I don't know
what did they do year on year?
Yeah, beyond updating a player database and maybe changing the wording in a few press conference sort of simulations. They were also talking about dropping the ability to do international management
right
from the game. Now, I don't know if you can do that in FM24. I haven't tried it.
I know that in the old FIFA EAFC games, you used to be able to do that simultaneously with the club.
Yeah, so you could do that. I'm going back the last. So I bought FM24. Prior to that, I must have been playing
19 or something.
Yeah, something like 19. Got such good saves on it, and Falkirk weren't horrendously bad. That was the kind of main purpose.
Yeah,
and you could do sort of simultaneous management. Like, you imagine, say, Falkirk or Aberdeen or Rangers or something like that, and then you could do Scotland.
Okay, yeah.
At the same time, and that was good because you were playing lots of games really consistently.
Yeah.
I found that really quite enjoyable.
Something a bit different as well.
In the kind of latest iteration, I am currently starting my second season with Charlton.
Okay.
Got won the league in my first season.
Well done, John.
Won Callum Morrison. 20 goals he scored for me.
Did he?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. I only signed 2 or 3 players. I had him and signed Harry Milne, who's went to someone else in Scotland. I think it was for Partick Thistle.
Oh, aye, because that happened in January, didn't it?
Partick left back. So odd enough, I'd kind of signed him as well.
Uh-huh.
He's all right. He's not great, but he does the job.
That's the virtual person.
But it's like,
putting too much on that.
if you put Callum Morrison in real life in English E1, he would just be broken in half.
I don't know.
Simulated, fantastic.
He might hold down a place.
He's a bit like Alan
Yeah, I don't know. Some like championship players have gone to do all right in the English lower leagues.
Some have.
Yes.
Like I say, physicality is the main driver of that one.
The football there is just brutally competitive. Yeah, video games in a weird state these days. Like, it's taking them so long to develop things, and it actually seems to be worse than it used to be. And what I'm wondering is, like, the people that initially developed Football Manager presumably are long gone. They've handed over the keys to people who don't really know how the house was built.
It's so
in
depth
to like tack on things that, and eventually it's got to the point where the whole thing sounds like it's got to be blown up and nuked and started again. I
mean, the biggest problem they had as soon as they introduced the 3D engine for like the key highlights as the game's playing, is
LMA Manager had that in 2006.
Yeah, I know. But the particular problem with that now is there's obviously glitches. I'm sure the simulations do what it needs to do, but there's glitches with how it shows. Like, so, I mean, was it the third or fourth last game of the season? I forget who the centre back was. I think it was Terrell Thomas or something like that. just passed the ball into the back of the net. Goal.
Okay.
Now
that could happen, John. Have you seen some of the goals these days?
Oh, I still get visions of Naby Sarr at the Championship playoff final. I'll go in with that being 2019. This was honestly about 20 years out. Just absolutely hammering a back pass allegedly to the goalkeeper and just going into the back of the net. Sunderland 1-0 up. You're going, oh my god! He came back to win it 2-1, but that is the defining moment of that game that I can remember the most. Which is the worst bit of the game. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, I'm sure the simulation's running, yet whatever kind of probability of that happening, it's happened in this game. But the manner in which it shows it on the screen and the goalkeeper not moving, stuff like that infuriates the life out of me.
To be a bit fixed there. If
it was the old school kind of 2D graphic, that wouldn't bother you.
No,
you wouldn't notice it. That's. You are right though. Games in general, they're overthought, or they're just rehashes of stuff that was good 10, 15 years ago.
Retro's the way to go. That's the way I'm going.
Now people are just ran out of ideas.
I know. You going to buy Grand Theft Auto this year?
No. I
So
mean, because I would need to buy I need to buy a PlayStation 5. Oh no!
Is it in? Is it in? Is it?
Oh,
They're
what?
pointing, John. Is it in?
Nah, it's a good save. Good save by whoever that goalkeeper is. He looked like he's a missing member of some indie band for Dundee.
There we indie band from Dundee.
Look at him.
Is that basically a reference to The View?
Just
Because I can't think of any other.
I thought
indie
it just
bands
looks
from
like
Dundee.
some kind of random guy would be like an indie band at Dundee Uni or something like that. Just
Oh, there we go. That was it was a fairly average header and it was a fairly average save.
he's got an earring and everything. Like it's
a footballer. That must be very dangerous.
oh, good save.
That was a really good save.
Good save.
Channeling his inner Casper Schmeichel there.
Dylan Tate nearly.
Right, before this descends into full-blown commentary
It's,
from 15 minutes of the Morton Falkirk game.
we are scrambling and rambling to get to about an hour here.
Indeed. So, the last question I'll ask you, what was the final score for Morton against Falkirk?
Falkirk win 2-0.
See, because I'm watching the game, I can guarantee you it's going to go wrong for Falkirk. I haven't seen Falkirk play well once this season. So I think 2-1 Morton is my guess. Comment below which one was right if you've got that far. Give us a like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. And we will hopefully see you again. Hopefully a little bit more regularly. It's been a wee while since the last one.
Yeah, if we can kind of do it on a kind of semi-fortnightly basis.
Aye, you get it when you get it.
The only thing we haven't really discussed since we mentioned it right at the very beginning is Motherwell do have a new manager. We know nothing about him apart from the fact he looks like a cut price David Wagner.
There you go.
Good luck to the guy. That's all I can say.
And on that evening, I nearly did that so smoothly.
You
I've
did.
so little I care. We should have talked about that kettlewell thing a bit more. That was a funny thing.
It's always next week.
Yeah, we'll do that. Must have been something more behind that. Was there not something more behind that?
Oh, he was getting abused.
Yeah, but all football managers get abused. That's the job.
I think he's just thin-skinned.
Anyway,
James Head.
have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning. Good night.
Bye.